Alright, you saw the intro. We're dropping a ball into the shot, and yes, I'm playing football with the Tesla bot.
Or soccer. In Europe, we say football. But anyway, you know what? We can throw a football in here.
First things first, go get Blender and After Effects. I put the links below. Also get the plugins and toss them all into one folder called Blender, so you don't lose them later. By the way, the After Effects or Adobe All Apps plan is usually cheaper than a single app, so totally up to you. If you're just watching before you try it out yourself, that's cool. You'll still follow everything. First, open Blender. You'll probably see the default cube and camera. Just select everything by pressing A and then X to delete. So we start clean. And then open up Preferences. In the System section, make sure the option to allow online access is turned on. Add-ons need that to work. Now go to the Add-ons section, choose Install from Disk, and pick the plugin zip you've downloaded. Now close that window. We're done with Blender for now. Now we head over to After Effects. In After Effects, go to File menu, then Scripts, then Install Script File. Point it at the script you've saved in the Blender folder, and if it asks you to restart After Effects, just go ahead and restart. Now we're going to create project folders. So future you thanks you. Inside your project, I always create 3 folders. It's Blender, a JSON file, and a render file. Then next to that, I add the clip that we're going to export. So let's really quick do that and create those. So that's a Blender, create a new folder, then JSON, and a render folder. Now I'm going to copy those and copy that structure for each one. So I have 4 shots, meaning 4 sets of Blender, JSON, and render folders. Keeps everything clean. So open your clips in DaVinci Resolve. Mark an in point and an out point on the section you need. Go to the Deliver page and pick a simple preset. I use an H.264 master. Check your resolution if it's correct. Make sure that individual clips is turned on. Set the render location to the render folder for that shot and hit render queue. If you accidentally see a huge number of clips, that just means your in and out marks reset. So set them again by pressing the O and re-add.
Now we'll add to render queue and we'll see the 4 clips. Now remove render clip and render. All right. So now let's open file location by just right clicking and drag each clip into the folder, and the other one, the third one, and the last one. Now let's open up the first file, and we're going to use this in After Effects.
And add the 3D camera tracker, which is really easy. Just create a new composition from your footage, and now search for 3D camera tracker by typing in camera, pick this one, and just drop it on your clip. It'll analyze automatically. In the meantime, I select this and this one. And if your solve looks wrong, switch the solve method. And right over here, you can see the percentage of the frames being solved. Once the track points show up, pick a nice cluster of something solid.
So easy mistake to grab the video itself. Control Z for a step back. And now click on the 3D camera tracker. And now you can play along.
And right click and choose Create Solid and Camera. If the solid sticks when you play back, you're good.
Click this area and Control A to select all.
Now export the track to Blender. So let's go to File, then Script, and Export Composition. And if After Effects complains about permissions, which will happen, it's your first time, allow scripts to write files and access the network, also to JavaScript, and then export again into the JSON folder. So go over to File again, Scripts, and Export. All right,
So now we'll browse and find our JSON folder for the first clip, name it and save, and then copy this address and export. Well done. And just know that in the future, you'll be doing this really fast. I'd like you to remember that stepping into Blender, it's gonna open up so many new doors. Everything that we're gonna set up right now, you can save these settings for each time you open up Blender.
Back in Blender, let's import the After Effects composition and head over to File, then Import, then After Effects composition. And then we choose the JSON file. Switch to the camera view and also delete this placeholder object because we don't need it. So we're gonna press X and then delete. Now, before we start adding anything, set up the output. Choose your render folder at the save location. So we're gonna choose render right over here. Set the format to PNG and the RGB we're gonna set so it's actually transparent, and keep your resolution or double it to 4K. Just match the frame rate to your footage, just like the resolution, obviously. And in render settings, turn on denoising and simplify and motion blur. And in film settings, turn on transparency. Then save the Blender file. So we're gonna hit Control S and save it in your Blender folder and call it 1 and enter again. Now, still in camera view, we want to see our footage.
And in any other case, we could have done that right away. But for now, we need to set one more thing up. So let's hover with our mouse to the right corner below until it turns into a plus sign. And then you can drag it up in order to get a new viewport. Now, really easy, I'm going to set this viewport to the timeline. If you're a beginner in Blender, it's very important to know that hovering your mouse a certain area really changes the options you have. And when you right click, you notice that right away. You'll use your pop-up menu with Shift A a lot of times and use the N key to toggle the sidebar for the N panel. Pressing N will either open or close this panel. So now we're gonna hover over here and press A to select all. Then over here, zoom in by scrolling with the scroll wheel and click your scroll button to drag the timeline to the side or do it manually. All right, so these are 31 frames. Over here, you can type it in, or you can type it in over here. 31 frames. Okay, so almost done because we still need to see the footage. So we're gonna hover and click on the edge of the camera. And right on the camera icon, we're gonna head over to background images, add image, add movie clip, and open our movie clip at the folder. And just double click to import the clip. And there we go. Now let's adjust the opacity right over here to see it fully and clear. And then head over to the viewport display to increase the passport 2 as well. So it's super clear. All right. Now let's press spacebar and see the clip. That's really cool to see, right? Let's press A again to select everything. Now I'm just gonna select the solid plane and drag this down a bit and press Shift S to have your cursor to the selected area. And then press X to delete the plane so we can add an object. And speaking of, I like to work with Blender Kit. They have an entire library of free objects that you can use for your Blender projects.
Adding a robot, adding crazy stuff, crazy objects. It's all there.
I've linked it below and you can download it the same way and install it the same way we did with the After Effects plugin. So after saving it in that folder, press Ctrl, head over to add-ons, install from disk, select the zip file, and there it is. Blender, models, materials. You can click away the preference tab, by the way. And I'm going to type in soccer ball and select a classic soccer ball, which is now added into the scene. We just can't see it, but it's there. That's why I like my cursor selected over the area I want to place my object. But we can literally just select the object in the list as well and press tilde 3 to get a close-up of your object in the right corner. I'm going to head over to the world view again. Now I'm going to place an HDR, which basically means high dynamic range image, which is a spherical 360 panoramic image that provides realistic natural lighting and reflection information. I'm going to search for soccer field and just pick one that looks similar to the scene. Later I'm going to show you how to do it yourself, but for now let's just have a look on how this works. By pressing and dragging the control wheel, you can just drag the scene to have a better look. And on trackpad it's with 2 fingers. So I'm going to now head over to this bow and arrow and make sure the move option is checked. This way you can grab your object by pressing G for grab. You can play around with the X, Y, Z's by pressing on X, Y, or Z in either direction. You can also press R for rotating, and then in the Z axis in this case. Well, there's that. So now let's press S to enlarge your object. So there's that. You now basically know everything. Every object needs a shadow catcher, so we're gonna create that really easy and fix the HDR. If you want to see it, you can head over to Render, Film tab, and then uncheck the transparent and see. You can have a peek at what the HDRI is doing for the ball.
But if you want to see the full quality, you just head over to the world view option. It's the rendered view. Then I'm just going to select the object and press H to hide it.
Now let's create the shadow catcher. Press Shift A for the mesh plane. Now scale it with S. Unhide to see the ball again. And just fix it till you're happy. Let's jump into the object properties panel. Open the visibility section and turn on shadow catcher. Right now the plane is still reflecting that bright white light that's coming from its diffuse and glossy settings. Let's disable those so it stops bouncing light around. Now I'll select the ball again and start animating. Grab it with G and move it on the X, Y, Z axis.
So we're going to work on the HDRI in a bit, but let's just focus on animating first.
We'll dial in the HDRI later. For now, we just need motion. Remember the basics. G to grab, hit enter to create your first keyframe, and Z to rotate in the Z axis. And if something feels off, just hit Ctrl Z and undo. And if you'd want to go crazy with it, you can change the endpoint into something crazy like right in front of the camera. It's super fun and super simple to do. You know, the best result is when you render. But now let's fix the HDRI. First, right over here, we'll click on the shader and set object right next to it to world. And in this world view, you see the 360 of Blender Kit. By clicking on this little map icon, you open up your 360 file. But let's say you want to set it up yourself.
You can either use a 360 camera, which is a no-brainer, and I really recommend getting one of those. Or you can use the Polycam app.
So simply record. So we're going to slowly move to the side for 360.
Once you download the app, it works really intuitively. There's a lot of paid stuff in there, but this is free.
Let it guide you through that whole process.
And with a little work, you have a 360, which you can then export as a skybox. I'm going to clear this setup and start fresh. Click New World to create a new environment. Go to Background and press Ctrl T. That instantly sets up the node group we need
to load a 360 HDRI image. Select your 360 image from the correct folder and plug it in. And now we've got a true to color 360 environment texture. It may still need some color grading later, but for now, you can adjust the background strength, brighten or darken it until it feels balanced. Switch over to the Render tab again and uncheck Transparency to preview the location and to see if everything lines up with your scene. Perfect. Now let's have some fun. I'll select the ball, scale it up, and make it shiny. In the object settings, lower the roughness and increase the metallic value. Now, just like that, it's super glossy and reflective. And you'll see all the reflections reacting naturally in the environment. Now let's check out something fun. Inside the Blender Kit library, I can literally drop in a Bugatti. Once it's loaded, just select it and scale it up. So no, I didn't model this Bugatti. This is the power of the Blender community. You can customize anything you want and you can change whatever you want to it. You could change any color of this object or any texture of the object. You could even place a dragon for that matter. After turning around everything and placing it a little in realistic position, you can now move the ball around in the same way and really just create a new plane for the Bugatti, make that object a shadow catcher again, uncheck diffuse and uncheck glossiness, and you know, the basic stuff now for you because you're already a pro. And switch between render views so your computer can handle everything. And there you go. This could be the end result in minutes. Haha. Alright, so no worries. The Tesla bot didn't break. Okay, so really easy. We're gonna head over to the output file we selected in the beginning. Gonna head over to render and render all the animations. So now we're gonna drag it into DaVinci Resolve as sequences, but before doing that, we need to head over to the Media tab and then frame display mode and make sure sequence is checked. And then you can easily drag it into DaVinci Resolve, which is a free app to try, by the way, for as long as you want, until you're ready for a paid version with AI features that you'll never regret buying. It's a one-time fee and then you have it forever and every update as well. Just a side note. So now let's head over to the color page and I'm just gonna color grade it a little bit right over here, make it a little bit more blue. And I'm just gonna adjust the curve a little. Now I want the goal to be on top, so I'm gonna duplicate it by pressing Alt and just dragging it on top. And then I'm gonna head over to the color tab to select it by using the magic mask. I'm not sure if the free version has it in the same way, but it's definitely possible to use it. Now I'm gonna head over to the color picker and toggle on the mask overlay so I can see what I'm selecting. Then you can choose between faster and better, but sometimes faster is just fast and better. I'm gonna zoom in by scrolling my scroll wheel and just select the area I want to be selected. I'm gonna track by clicking the arrows for forward and in reverse. Then right over here in the node group, I'm gonna right click and add an alpha output and drag the blue point to the newly added alpha output. And head over to the timeline again. Now you can see the ball disappear behind our new layer. I went over to ElevenLabs to get some sound effects, typed in everything I thought about, like a ball to, a crowd to the sound of, the mechanics of the robot, everything. And it just it finds it. It's really nice. In a previous video, I even prompted it to add some words like that were, in somewhere in between the crowd of backstage noise of people saying 50 or 11 months already, whatever. And then it sounds super realistic. So you can go a long way with ElevenLabs. Really recommend to have original sound effects. I don't think many people are talking about it enough. It's more known for being voiceover related, when you can literally just get, you know, and there's a lot of inspiration on the website, so just have a look.
That was easy.
I'm Jara. You can find me everywhere at Jarify. Everything mentioned is linked below, and see you in the next one.
This is how we made the goal.